All right, we might make a start. I'll just zoom in so that everyone can see our lovely faces. Hello. All right, thank you all very much for joining us. Welcome to the next session in our webinar series. So my name's Ellen. I'm a STEM Outreach Communications Officer here at Flinders University. Today I'm going to be monitoring a quick student panel based around biology. So a couple quick admin things before we get started. This should take about 15 minutes. We'd prefer you to have your camera and your microphone turned off. You don't need to, you can just be muted for the whole time. If you've got any questions, please send them in through the chat function. Type them to all rather than privately is our preference. If you prefer, you can message me privately. And there's no point me reading out the can't hear thing because presumably that means that you wouldn't be able to hear it. So I've got a bit of an update on what we're doing at Flinders before we get started. So from March 2020, all of our teaching has been made available online. So we've sent all of our students home. They're all studying online at the moment. That's going interesting ways. Hopefully we'll hear a little bit more about that today. This is going to be a panel. This works best if you send in questions via the chat function. So I've got some questions here for our students. I'll get them to introduce themselves in a minute. But if there's something you want to know about studying biology at Flinders Uni, you should absolutely send it in via the chat, ask it. This is going to be a great opportunity to do that. These are all the specializations and the majors we have that are relevant to biology. So if there's anything there that particularly piques your interest, please do send it in via the chat, let us know, and we'll chat a little bit more about it. All right, so what we might do now is, like I said, if you have any questions, please send them in via the chat. But while we're waiting for your first questions to come in, I might get the three of you to introduce yourselves. So we might start with Angeline.
Sure. So I'm Angeline and I'm doing a double degree in Bachelor of Education, Bachelor of Arts. I'm majoring in Biological Sciences.
Thanks. Akshay?
Hey, my name is Lakshay. I'm doing a Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology and I'm focusing on the molecular side of it.
Perfect. I'm Abby and I'm in my fourth year of a Bachelor of Science in Molecular Biosciences and a Bachelor of Science in Biotechnology.
All right. Thank you all very much. So like I said, if you've got any questions, please do send them in via the chat. In the meantime, I think it's probably a good idea just to start with asking you how a normal day of study would look for you and how that's changed in the wake of COVID and what you've been doing this semester. So, Angeline, do you want to start?
Sure. So I have a lot of face-to-face workshops normally. So in a normal semester, I would be on campus 9 to 5 in lectures and workshops, and then I just sort of lurk around in some of the study buildings in between then, trying to catch up on my readings and stuff. And at the moment, I'm sitting at home at my desk near the front door for like 8 hours a day. So my cat is helping, just not helping.
Like, cats are relevant to biology, right?
They are, and
Yeah.
I had to present a lesson the other day, and my cat helped. We were making Viking longboats, and he sunk mine for me, so that was really nice of him.
Oh, very thoughtful.
Yeah.
Lakshay, how are you been going?
Yeah, I mean, usually I have a lot of practicals every week. And for practicals, there's a lot of preparation you have to do. Like, go through the manual, read up what you have to do before you actually come into the lab. And, and have like a really good grasp of what's happening. So right now, like, everything's done online instead. And for that reason, you can't, go to uni and do the practicals yourself. So it's like a video recording they do for you. And it gives you a lot more time, I guess, to, go through everything, considering you don't have to, like, go to uni, be there, you can just stay at home. It gives you a lot more time. And it also gives you opportunity to, like, go back on things and then watch it again and again, just so you have, like, a better grasp of what's happening. And yeah, that's really what the difference is. It's not as hands-on, because you can't really be hands-on for this, but it gives you better, I guess, opportunities to, get a better grasp of what's happening.
It is. Abby?
I think my experience is really similar to the both of you. I usually like to attend uni. I engage more when I am in a classroom with a teacher or in a lab with the demonstrators. It makes it a lot easier if I have any questions, and it's a lot easier to keep up with what you have on. So your lectures, if you attend them, you don't have to rewatch them or forget that you've watched one or stuff like that. But it also does give you a lot more time to plan out what you're doing and do your assignments ahead of time because you have so much time now than like being on campus all the time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we've heard a lot. Biology in general is quite a structured area. You spend a lot of time in labs. There are quite a lot of contact hours, a lot of lectures, and some students already sit at home and listen to them all on recordings and stuff, and some people much prefer to have that kind of structure. So that's something that varies a lot. Just a reminder, if you've got any questions, please do drop them in the chat. We'd be happy to answer anything. In the meantime, could I get the three of you to talk a little bit about how you chose your current course? So, Abby, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. So, in high school, I chose to do Year 11, Year 12 biology. It's because it's the best science, obviously. And in that, I liked a lot of the genetics and cellular biology components that we do. So I went onto all of the university's websites and looked at what you can access is called a course rule. And in the course rule, it tells you every topic that you have to do in your degree and what you'll be studying in those topics. And I found that Flinders had most topics that fit my interest of disease and immunology and microbiology and all of those kind of topics. So I kind of got here by going through what I liked in high school to translating what I wanted to study in university.
Yeah, my whole story is kind of similar to Abby's. I was a really big fan of science, and I kind of figured that out in year 10. And then for year 12, 11 and 12, I chose the science topics, all of them, just because I really liked all of the science topics, but I didn't really know which one I liked more, and I want to have a lot of options out there. But yeah, so that's what I did. And in year 12, when I was really thinking of what I really want to get into, we were learning about CRISPR and genetic modification at that point, and I just really loved that. It was so interesting. And I had a chat with a uni student. It was they did interviews for us, some sort of counseling sort of session. And I talked with them. And I told them, yeah, I really like this sort of stuff. And they said, yeah, if you want to do that, you should go into biotechnology. It really focuses on that, and you can, there's a lot of connections with Flinders, with the industry of biotechnology. So I thought, yeah, it's perfect. And that's why I went for biotechnology.
Ooh.
Mine's a bit different.
Yeah.
So I have some prior degrees in archaeology, and I was going down a research track, and I decided that I really loved research and I really loved teaching, but archaeology was not my thing. So I decided to go into teaching properly, and I needed another teaching area, and a few years back I did a vertebrate paleontology field school here at Flinders, and I loved it, and so I decided that if I was going to come back and teach, I may as well do subjects that I loved, and so I'm doing a bio major.
Cool. Cheers. We've got a question coming in for you two, I believe. So what kinds of things do you do in molecular bioscience or biotechnology? Is it the same as a science major? What's the difference?
So molecular bioscience and biotechnology are specializations.
Mm-hmm.
You can do microbiology or something like that as a major, but because they're specializations, they're much more structured in all of the core topics that you have to study. So you have less choice, but because it's structured in the things surrounding molecular biology and biotechnology. So molecular biology is a lot of learning about cells and like the cellular functions in the body, bacteria, viruses, stuff like that. Whereas biotechnology is how to manipulate those processes to get a product. So something like genetic modification, as Lakshay said before, is biotechnology, but also stuff like making pharmaceuticals or making beer is also biotechnology. So those kind of stuff, you get really structured courses in what you want to do, but you still do have some choices in.
Yeah, and as Abby and I were talking beforehand, with bioscience as well, biotechnology, they also talk about a lot of the business sides of things as well, because a lot of this is a really quickly growing field. There's a lot of business in this as well, and they focus on those aspects as well, which I think is really important. As you were saying as well, like it's really a lot more structured. It's really more focused, and it gives you a lot of, I guess, information considering just that one field. If you want a more like generalized sort of thing, you just do like a Bachelor of Science, then you can just kind of like branch out later on.
Yeah, or a major has more choice than a specialisation.
Or even like the BA major it's
They
complete
might not
choice.
know what
Like
BA is.
Bachelor of the Arts. You can do a biology major as the Bachelor of the Arts, and you have complete choice as to what topics you do. You're only restricted by prerequisites.
As a general rule, specializations are if you know that this is really the thing you want to do, and majors give you more options. That said, it's super easy to switch between degrees at Flinders. If you want to switch from biotechnology to law, for instance, you're probably going to be spending a lot of time at university, but it's still very easy to switch around. So once you're in your degree and you decide that there's something else you want to do, you can do that.
Or just add another one on like I did.
Yes, like Abby did,
Tack on an
exactly.
extra.
Yeah. If you've got any other questions, please do send them in via the chat.
Good question though.
Yeah, very good question. In the meantime, I've got another question. What do you particularly enjoy about your course at Flinders?
I actually really love the teaching staff. So one of my favourite things about the biology department are the teaching staff. They're really excited about their research. They're really involved in the classes. They go out of their way to make them really interesting.
Cheers.
Yeah, I feel like the things that you enjoy are a lot to do with your mindset you have. So for me, it's kind of like an on and off sort of thing, but like learning about this sort of stuff. Like if I have a lot of stress on me, if I have a lot of things to do at the same time, I'm kind of lagging behind. It seems like the lectures I'm going through, they seem less interesting. They seem more like a chore. But like, it's like once you have like a certain sort of mindset of like, you're learning this and that this is like information that's out there. Like, you learn about the cell, you learn about how you yourself work, right? If you have that sort of mindset, you can find that really, really fun. And that's like how it usually is for me, except for like in those really strenuous sort of situations. But yeah, like, I feel like just learning, because I'm just really passionate about like the body and learning things, it just seems like those lectures and everything, those are really, really fun for me.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's a lot of, if you found the right area, the one that fits you and what you want to do, basically, you will love studying it. Like, I love bacteria and I love viruses and learning about them. Loving bacteria sounds weird, I know.
Loving viruses is a little bit more controversial at the moment, I would say.
But I love understanding the mechanisms behind them and being informed about, especially in times like these, being informed about what is happening and why it's happening, and being able to tell your friends and family, this is the reason behind why these things are happening. That is one of the best things. Just having that knowledge and learning all of those things is very interesting to me. So I very much like the areas that I'm studying.
Cheers.
It's all about finding something you really like.
Yeah, I think so. And we were arguing about this before, about how some of the things that I love are things that you hate.
Yeah.
So even within the narrow field of biology.
Yes, exactly. And if you don't find it straight away, that's completely fine.
Yeah.
A lot of, we are probably anomalies in that we kind of knew what we wanted to do before coming to university. Like, I knew you've changed a little bit. But
I had no idea what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
That's why I have a degree in archaeology.
yeah, exactly. But a lot of people, the more you talk to people, the more they're like, I really don't know what I want to do. Like, what do you get in to kind of find your way? And I think that's probably the best way if you don't know what to do to get to where you want to go. Because if you do a really broad degree at the start, so just a Bachelor of Science, you can choose from a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And by choosing from a lot of different things, you can go, okay, so I'm not too crash hot on evolution, but I am really interested in microbiology, stuff like that.
Shade of evolution again.
Yes, exactly.
I actually think Flinders does a double degree in Bachelor of Science, Bachelor of Arts, don't they now? And that's really cool because you can just sort of pick from just about any topic across the university.
Yeah. So we do a Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts combined, which is very deliberately about being interdisciplinary.
Yeah, and if you don't know what you want to do,
yes,
you know,
it gives you a lot of options for sure. Question in the chat: does it take longer to do a double degree?
It sure does.
Yes.
Yeah. So what I did was, I'm technically not doing a double degree. I'm technically doing 2 degrees at the same time. It's a bit confusing, but I started my molecular bioscience degree and then 2 years in decided I haven't done enough uni. I don't, like, there's more things I want to study. I'll add another one on. So I added biotechnology. So what happens is, depending on how similar the areas, depends on how much time you add on. So molecular biology and biotech, really similar. I only had to add on 1 more year and I'll come out of it with 2 degrees. But if you want to do biotechnology and law, there isn't a lot of topic crossover, so it does take longer. If you want to do those 2 degrees together, you will be here for a long time. It will be like 6 to 7 years just because of there's no crossover. But if you want to do that and you don't mind being here that long, then go for it. It's like a really valuable experience to have more than one area of expertise, because usually they do cross over really well. So I have a friend doing forensics and analytical science, but she's also doing a computer science degree. So although they sound really different at the time, she can come out and go into forensics as a like, what is it called when you do computer forensics?
As like cybersecurity?
Yes, stuff like that. So you can go into really niche fields that there's not necessarily a lot of people in, which not only gets you better job qualifications, but it also usually gets you higher pay.
We're coming up towards time, so if you do have any other questions, please do drop them in the chat. I've had 1 more sent to me privately, which I'll ask, but now's your last chance if you've got any other questions. What are the labs usually like in biology, and are they difficult?
Labs are great.
Yeah?
I like labs. They're really fun. There's a lot more, I guess, it's a lot more hands-off when it comes to the instructors. They kind of for certain classes, like for the first year, one of the first topics I did, we had like 100 people in one of the labs. It was really big, and like the lab instructors, they kind of just hovered around, like kind of like butterflies or whatever, and you kind of got, you got to do whatever you wanted, and you got to do it at your own pace. It was really fun. It was a lot more. You got to be a lot more independent. But yeah, I mean, if you have any trouble or anything, the lab instructors are always there for you, and they always, they don't really like if you're not sure about some certain things that they went over already, they're not going to, look frown upon you for that. They're going to be very helpful. And that's what I really like about it. Like, you get to be independent, you get to like do everything by yourself, but if you actually do need help, it's like a safety net you get.
I don't completely agree with you get to do whatever you want.
Okay.
Yes, we're very
In the purview of the experiment.
Yeah, so
Safety restrictions.
there are safety restrictions, so you do...
You can't drink hydrogen peroxide.
No, you can't.
Please don't.
So you basically, your labs usually run along with the content that you learn. So the content you learn, say it's on like the genetics of a bacterial cell, you will then do an experiment around that in the lab. And if you understand the content and you're up to date with the content, I don't think the labs are particularly hard. Obviously, the labs get harder through your degree. So the labs I'm doing now are much harder than I did in first year, but they're also much more interesting. Like first year, you'll do a lot of general biology, and this is how osmosis works, and this is animal adaptations, whereas now I'm looking at like cancer treatments and how they affect different cells differently. So they do, I wouldn't say all of the labs are extremely hard and you get no help and you're doing it all on your own. Like you will receive a lot of help. You've got a lot of content behind you. As you, Lakshay said, you do get to be fairly independent in the labs. That's what university is trying to teach you, because if you go out after your university degree, you have to be independent in the lab. Like that's what your job will be. But yeah, they're definitely a lot more fun in the third years, your third and fourth years, depending on how you go, because it is more in the areas you want to go into.
I was going to say, I think it depends on your interests, because you're
Yeah,
particularly
exactly.
not interested in evolution, and there's a huge amount of that in
I am
first year.
saying,
So
I am
there's a bias
saying
here.
There is a bias. There is a really bad bias. I'm sorry if you do like evolutionary biology. It's just not my area of expertise.
Not as interesting.
And we usually get to do
Exactly.
research projects as well
Yeah.
for
yeah.
labs. Those are really cool as well. It's you get to it's either like depending on what you're doing it in and what class you're doing it in. You get you form up in a group or by yourself. You do like you make your own experiment and you can conduct it. And there are some restrictions for that. You can't, it has to be like ethical. That's very important. But like you can, yeah. So I had this thing with the group just like last year. It was so much fun. We got like tree sap. We got like tree sap from different eucalyptus trees, and we compared them, like the species, how good they were with their antibacterial properties, and how effective they were. It was so interesting, and like that was really hands-on on our sort of thing. The instructors didn't really need to. They didn't really expect us to, we got to ask questions, but it was really, really independent sort of work. And yeah, as you said, it's really important to have that sort of ability to be independent and do things by yourself, plan things by yourself, if you want to go into like a work, like sort of research sort of area, in any science degree.
For sure. All right, I think we're coming up on time now. We don't have any more questions. So before we leave, if you're really interested in any of these things, if a lot of these are particularly pointed out to you, one of the things I would recommend you do is check out either one of our specialization degrees in biology or one of the majors. And the important thing I would suggest is take a look at this View Study Program button, because that actually gives you an idea of the actual courses you'll be studying, the actual topics you'll be studying, so you can get a sense of what sorts of things will be involved in the degree if you're interested in that specific degree. Where are we going? The other thing I just want to plug is our upcoming webinars. So we've got a STEM skills workshop coming up in a couple of weeks where we're going to be taking a look at actually drawing in science, which I'm really looking forward to. That should be really interesting. And we've also got some other panels coming up. And also on the 11th of June, we've got some student experiences. So we have a couple of other biology students talking about different experiences they had at university. So I'd really recommend taking a look at that as well if you're particularly interested. You can register for all of these webinars online. And if you want to get in touch with us, the best way to do that is by emailing stem@flinders.edu.au. We also have a thing at Flinders called the Prospective Students Team, who can give you one-on-one advice on the sorts of degrees you want to do. So by all means, take a look at one of those as well. You can ring them, or you can book in an individual chat with student advisors as well. All right. Thank you all very much for participating. Is there anything else the three of you would like to say before we finish?
Stay safe.
Yes, thank you.
Stay safe.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you all for listening. I hope that was interesting. Thanks to Angeline, Lakshay, and Abby as well for chatting today. And yeah, please do get in touch if you've got any other questions.